This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. No copyright infringement is intended, so let's get started.
This presentation explores Manfred Steiger's ideology of globalization, a complex and influential theory that examines the interconnectedness of world through economics, political, and cultural forces. In his ideologies of globalization, Steiger addresses the complexities and confusion surrounding the term globalization. He acknowledges its broad usage across various disciplines but cautions against conflating different concepts like process, condition, and system. Steiger proposes the term globality to describe a future social condition characterized by deep economic, political, and cultural interconnectedness that makes current national borders and barriers irrelevant. Steiger argues that globalization should be viewed as a set of complex interconnectedness processes reshaping the world by compressing time and space through political, economic, and cultural changes as well as technological innovations. Manfred Steiger's ideology of globalization is centered on the concept of globalism, a political belief system that advocates for the integration of global markets, the liberalization of trade and promotion of neoliberal policies across the world.
So here are the key objectives. First is key elements and components of Steiger's ideology of globalization. Second is the cumulative process of globalization. Third is the 5 key aspects of globalization. Fourth is Michael Frieden's sentiments and Manfred's opposition. And lastly, Apadorai's contribution and 5 scapes of globalization. So here are the key elements and components of Steiger's ideology of globalization. First is integration of global markets. It is the process of creating a unified global economy where goods, services, capital, and labor flow freely across borders with minimal restrictions. So here are the key features. First is trade. It is an increased cross-border exchange of goods and services. It means that you can either present or receive products or services to or from other people even if they are away from you or from another country. Next is finance. So it is an integration of financial markets where investments and capital move globally. You can buy or trade shares bought from various of companies around the world, from your home, with your laptop or phone, at your own comfort. Third is production. So it is an establishment of global supply chains and multinational corporations. One great example is the rise of an empire of American food corp, McDonald's, where it got its reach globally to numerous of countries. Second is the deregulation of markets. So it is the process of reducing or eliminating government rules and regulations that restrict market activities, aiming to create a freer and more competitive economic environment. Deregulations makes it easier for businesses to operate across borders by removing barriers such as strict labor laws, environmental standards, or financial regulations. One great example is dropshipping with Shopify. Dropshipping is you can sell or market products on behalf of the maker. You don't have to have an inventory because Shopify will deliver the products to the customers with minimal to no government restrictions or intervention. Third is privatization. So it means the transfer of ownership of businesses, industries, or services from the public or government sector to private individuals or corporations. So in the context of globalization, privatization is often implemented to attract FDI or foreign direct investment, integrate domestic industries to global economy. A great example is PLDT. It was initially controlled by the government, where the government sold its shares to private investors in the 1990s, transforming PLDT to a private-owned telecommunications leader. So the fourth one is liberalization of trade. So the process of reducing or removing trade barriers such as tariffs, quotas, and subsidies to encourage the free exchange of goods and services between countries. So in the context of globalization, it facilitates international trade by making imports and exports cheaper and easier. So here are the norms and values embedded by globalization. First is consumerism. It is the belief that personal well-being and happiness are best achieved through the acquisition and consumption of goods and services. It has been a key value spread by globalization, especially through the expansion of global markets, advertising, and consumer culture. In global brands and advertising, multinational corporations like Coca-Cola, Nike, and Apple use globalization to promote a lifestyle of constant consumption. Advertisements reach people virtually in every part of the world, reinforcing the idea that happiness and success are linked to buying the latest products. Second is individualism. It is the cultural value that emphasizes autonomy and self reliance of individuals over community or collective interests. In the context of globalization, individualism has become a prominent value, particularly in Western societies, but increasingly in others as well. In media and digital influence, the rise of social media and online platforms where personal identity and self expression are key further promotes individualism. People create their own online personas, showcasing their achievements and lifestyles to the global audience. Third is competition. It is the value that emphasizes rivalry and the pursuit of excellence in order to achieve personal or organizational success. In a globalized world, competition is central to economic, social, and cultural life, from business markets to personal achievement. Globalization has led to a flood of choices for consumers. Companies must compete internationally to offer better products at lower prices, often leading to the proliferation of advertisements, promotions, and innovations to capture consumer attention. Best examples which portrays competitions internationally and locally are Nike versus Adidas and Jollibee versus McDonald's.
Are the cumulative process of globalization. First one, ancient trade networks or ancient period. China and India were pivotal in fostering early globalization to trade routes. Silk Road, 130 BCE to 1453 CE. China played a crucial role in ancient globalization by exporting silk, spices, and other goods along this network, connecting Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. The second one is Age of Exploration, 15th to 17th century modern globalization. European nations, particularly Portugal, Spain, and later Britain, played a key role during the Age of Exploration and Industrial Revolution. Portugal. Portuguese explorers like Vasco da Gama established maritime trade routes to India and other parts of Asia. Portugal's control of spice trade routes in the Indian Ocean expanded global commerce. Spain. Christopher Columbus' voyages 1492 initiated the Columbian Exchange connecting Europe, the Americas, and Africa through the exchange of goods, people, and ideas. Spain's colonization of the Americas introduced a global flow of precious metals like silver, linking economies across continents. Spain's colonization of the Philippines is also introduced the spread of the religion Christianity in the Southeast Asia, starting with Filipinos.
The third one is the Industrial Revolution, 18th-19th century. The UK is often credited with accelerating globalization during the Industrial Revolution. Innovations in manufacturing and transportation, such as steam engines, railroads, and ships, enabled mass production and international trade. Britain's colonial empire linked diverse regions, facilitating the movement of goods, labor, and ideas globally. And the last one is contemporary globalization. The United States has been the most significant driver in the post-World War II era. In the 20th century, globalization, United States after the World War II, the US became the central driver of the globalization by championing free trade and establishing international institutions such as IMF, World War Bank, and United Nations. The martial law plan rebuilt Europe, fostering economic interdependence. US-led technology innovations like Internet further fueled globalizations, which expanded its reach to many different countries across the continents. Spread of American influence. America's influence spread like wildfire, and great examples are Hollywood, where films and TV shows are consumed globally, shaping cultural norms and values around entertainment. Fashion, where American fashion brands like Levi's and Nike have become global symbols of style, on how people present themselves around the world. Fast food chains like McDonald's and Starbucks becoming symbol of convenience and modernity. And then currently AI, where the US led the evolution and rise of AI, improving comfort and practically. AI is the future.
AI.
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 Economic globalization refers to the integration of national economies through trade, investments, and movement of capitals across borders. It emphasizes the creation of global marketplace where goods, services, and capital can flow freely between countries. Cultural globalization refers to the worldwide exchange of cultural products, ideas, and values. This aspect focuses on the interconnectedness of cultures through media, entertainment, fashion, language, and other forms of expression. UC exchange students in Taiwan refers to the students from any other of the University of California campuses who participate in a study abroad program at a Taiwanese university. Most commonly at the National Taiwan University or NTU through the UCEAP University of California Education Abroad program, where they can study various subjects, experience Taiwanese culture, and often conduct research in fields like agriculture, biotechnology, computer science, and more. Technological globalization refers to the spread and integration of technologies across borders, driving changes in economies, societies, and daily life. It is closely tied to other aspects of globalization, such as economic and cultural. Advancement in renewable energy, where innovations in energy storage, like batteries, and smart grid systems are making renewables more reliable and efficient. Digital economy, the rise of e-commerce, online services, and digital platforms has created global digital economy. Businesses can now operate and reach customers worldwide, and consumers have access to a global marketplace.
Political globalization. Political globalization refers to increasing interconnectedness of political system and the emergence of global governance in structure that transcend national borders. The Philippines has engaged in various agreements with both China and Russia, reflecting its effort to diversify international partnership and navigate complex geopolitical dynamics. South China Sea Provisional Arrangement July 24 and July 2024, the Philippines and China reached agreement to allow Philippines to resupply naval personnel stationed on BRP Sierra Madre at Second Thomas Shall without interference. Memorandum of Understanding on Mass Communications, November 2017. In November 2017, the Philippines Presidential Communication Operation Office and Russia's Ministry of Telecom and Mass Communication signed on MOU to enhance cooperation in mass communications, reflecting a mutual interest in strengthening media collaboration. Social globalization. Social globalization refers to the interconnectedness of society and the impact of global flows on social relation, identity, and community. The Philippines has predominantly Catholic population and religious influences play a significant role in shaping societal attitudes. Despite this, many Filipinos are accepting of LGBTQ individuals, reflecting the country's diverse cultural norms. Social movement and activism. Globalization has empowered social movement, enabling activists to organize and advocate for change on a global scale. Movements like environmentalism, LGBTQ rights, and anti-globalization protests have gained international visibility.
In his article, Michael Frieden highlights the challenges of capturing the evolving nature of political ideologies, particularly the fragmentation of traditional ideologies and the uncertainty surrounding the concept of ideology itself. He proposed two lines of inquiry questioning the notion of ideological families and reconsidering how ideologies are classified. While Frieden briefly touches on globalism as a potential ideology, he ultimately remains skeptical about its status. He encourages innovation through exercise that reclassify ideologies based on human behavior.
In his works, Michael Frieden proposed two important lines of inquiry to better understand ideologies, particularly in the context of globalization. First, questioning the implicit holism in the concept of an ideological family. Frieden challenges the common practice of treating ideologies as fixed, monolithic families. Traditional approaches to analyzing ideologies often categorize them into broad families such as conservatism, liberalism, socialism, and so on. These ideologies are typically treated as unified system with a coherent set of beliefs. Frieden argues that this approach is problematic because ideologies are not static or fixed entities. Instead, they are fluid, fragmented, and can evolve over time.
Dominant conventions of classifying and categorizing ideologies. Frieden's second line of inquiry calls for a examination of the conventional method used to classify and categorize ideologies. In traditional political theory, ideologies have been classified based on a limited set of parameters. For example, left versus right, liberal versus conservative. However, Prudence emphasizes that such conventional classification may fail to capture the complexity and evolving nature of ideologies in the modern world. Manfred Steger, however, disagrees with Fried's dismissal of globalism, asserting that it has already solidified as a new dominant political ideology of our time. He argues that globalism is a coherent set of political beliefs that warrants ideological recognition. Steger dissects globalism into six core claims that blends elements from various ideologies while introducing a new ideas, all serving to maintain asymmetrical power structures. He also briefly engaged in Frieden's second line of inquiry, proposing a thought experiment to reconsider traditional ideological classification in light of globalism's lies.
Padura introduced the idea and framework of scapes in his influential work, Modernity at Large, Cultural Dimensions of Globalizations on 1996, to better understand the dynamic flows of culture, technology, media, finance, and ideas across the globe. So, these scapes refer to different dimensions of globalizations, each contributing to the global interconnectedness Steger describes in his ideological analysis. The scapes refer to different types of global flows that interact with and shape the local and global landscapes of culture, economy, politics, technology, and more. So these scapes are not merely linear flows of goods or ideas. They are fluid, interconnected, and constantly changing. These are the Apadura scapes. Ethnoscapes. Ethnoscapes refers to the movement of people across borders. This includes migrants, refugees, tourists, expatriates, and other groups who move for various reasons, or economical, political, or social. The movement of people creates constant flow of the human capital across the globe, impacting both the places people have and the places they move to. These flows create new cultural dynamics, resulting in the blending of local and global cultures, the information of diaspora communities, and new social identities. So, here are the examples. Immigrant communities in urban centers, refugee movements caused by political conflict, and the rise of international tourism, all of which contribute to the global cultural interchanges. Technoscapes. Technoscapes refer to the flow of technology and technological knowledge across borders. This includes the spread of industrial technologies, information and communication technologies, which is ICT, and innovations in science and medicine. The rapid movement of technologies has dramatically reshaped global production, communication, and everyday life. Advancement in technology such as the internet, smartphones, and medical breakthroughs transcend national borders and create new possibilities for interaction and economic exchange. For example, the internet, which connects individuals and businesses across the world in real time.
Third is mediascapes. It refers to the global distribution and consumption of media through television, film, news, social media, and advertising. This encompasses both the flow of information and images across the globe, how these media shape people's perceptions of the world. So media is a powerful tool in shaping global consciousness and public opinion. Through television, internet platforms, social media, and other forms of communication. So people across the world are exposed to the same images and narratives, often shaping their understanding of politics, culture, and society. So one great example is the global influence of Hollywood films, the spread of news and information through digital platforms like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. The rise of social media shape influencers through cultural trends and public discourse. Fourth is financescapes. So it refers to the global flow of capital, investment, and economic transactions. So these actually includes global financial markets, banking systems, multinational corporations, and international trade. So global financial systems are increasingly interconnected, meaning that financial crisis in one region can have a ripple effect worldwide. Similarly, capital flows across borders with money invested in different economies, impacting local economies and livelihood. The global financial system is also influenced by policies such as neoliberalism, which seeks to reduce barriers to trade and investments, creating more open economies. So, one great example is the movement of capital in and out of global markets, foreign direct investments or FDI into emerging markets, and multinational corporations setting up production facilities across the world. And last is idioscapes. So it refers to the flow of ideologies, values, and political ideas across borders. These include the dissemination of political beliefs, cultural values, and social movements that influence individuals or governments globally. So ideologies such as liberalism, democracy, neoliberalism, and environmentalism transcend national borders and shape global political discourse. So these ideologies are spread through media, international organizations, and social or cultural exchanges, influencing policies, governments, and social movements across the world. So one great example is the spread of democracy and human rights ideals through international organizations like United Nations. Hence, the rise of global environmentalism and the push of climate change, the spread of capitalism and neoliberal economic policies. So in conclusion, Apadurayscapes provide a comprehensive and flexible framework for understanding globalization's complex and multidimensional nature. So that's all and everything. Hope you learned a thing or two. Thank you for listening and have a great day.